Hey there, future homeowners. Welcome back to the channel. If you've been thinking about new construction, then today we're going to break down everything you need to know about building your own home here in West Michigan. I'm Realtor Nick Belmore, and I can't wait to dive into some of the most important steps for you guys today if you're interested in new construction and really making it your own. Follow along with me and let's dive into some of the most important points about building a new home here in West Michigan. First things first, let's take a look at some of the most important reasons today on why you would want to build new construction over ultimately a used or pre-owned home. And there's a couple of different things that really go along with that. Number one thing I want to dive into when it comes to the why, it's really about modern design for a lot of people. One of the things that we see in new construction versus a lot of our pre-owned homes is the amenities are really more set up for today's buyer. Couple of things that we look at that is the primary bedroom typically is going to have a great bath and closet attached to it in new construction, no matter the price range. Where we know that homes built in the 50s, sometimes they did have a primary bath, but very rarely did they have a suite for a closet, all that different type of stuff, unless you were just at the highest of price ranges. So really getting some of those more modern amenities, especially when it comes to closet space, is a big draw for people when it comes to new construction. Second thing, when we get into the why, they always say they don't build them like they used to. And you know what? Part of that's true. And one of the big things they don't do like they used to is building low efficiency homes. What am I talking about? Well, number one, the reality is today, insulation is just way better than it used to be. Also, if your furnace is 20 years plus old, there's no doubt it doesn't have near the efficiency of the brand new modern Energy Star and energy efficient furnaces that come out today. Same thing with our air conditioning, and of course modern windows typically have a much higher R factor than some of those other windows that are out there in our older homes. Especially, I'm talking about those wood windows from the 50s and the 60s, and of course 70s and 80s we saw the aluminum windows start to come out, and if you have aluminum windows, you know that they let a lot of that cold air flow right through that aluminum frames. No question, there is so much more energy efficiency in today's building standards than there used to be and that we used to see out there in generations previous. Another reason why today a lot of our homes are low maintenance. What do you mean? Well, if you were to start to go back even into the early 2000s, so many homes were built with wooden soffits. They were built with wooden gables, a lot of exterior wood trim pieces, whereas today a lot of that stuff is vinyl or aluminum clad. And what that really means is you're just seeing way less maintenance on the exterior of a modern home versus an older home. Do you have older wood siding? Well, then you know what it takes to paint that every few years to keep the outside sealed up and looking good. Whereas today, so many people are looking at solid color vinyl, or of course hardy plank, where your siding is made out of basically concrete lap siding. And of course it gives you a ton of bug resistance. It's way easier to paint. It's way harder on the outside, so you're not going to see the same kind of chipping and any of that type of stuff. And it's just going to be a more maintenance-free, longer lasting exterior. Of course, cultured stone, all those things are pretty much maintenance-free that we start to see in the modern building style of today. And last but not least, when we start to dive into the why, one of the biggest things for people today, and probably the number one reason that people are attracted to new construction, they want to customize their home. They want it to really be fit for them, whether it's the layout, whether it's the cabinet choices, the countertop choices, the trim, the fireplace, the stair handrail, the mantle, all those different things. When you get to truly pick your own features and benefits, you truly do get to make that home your own, your dream home. So many people are drawn in by the choices, and obviously that is one of the fun things about designing and building a modern home today. Next thing we want to take a look at Where do you find new construction? And if you've been here in the West Michigan for any amount of time, you know that everywhere seems to have a new sub coming in. I live in Caledonia, and there's no less than 5 new construction subdivisions just in our tiny area as it is. Byron Center has multiple sites as well, and so do a ton of other areas. All the way from Kentwood out to Comstock Park, Ada and Cascade both have new construction subs as well. And also, it's not just about new subs. A lot of times people might have a one-off lot, especially if having a large yard is important to you. So many of the homes that we're seeing built in Cascade and Ada today are not really jammed into the sub, but they're large individual lots that are having estate-size homes built on them as well. When it comes to West Michigan, there's a lot of choice right now on where you might want to buy new construction. Now, is there some price differentials, especially between buying in the sub versus developing your own 5 acres? Yeah, there absolutely can be. That being said, it's also seen in the resale. And if you put the extra money into your lot, it will typically return itself down the road, plus some for you as somebody who is into the features and benefits and looking for a little bit extra experience compared to the 100 by 100 subdivision lots that some of us are used to. Next thing that we want to take a look at when it comes to new construction is truly understanding what to expect. When we get into the process for a lot of our builders right now, to go from concept to keys is typically a 9-month process to an 8-month process on new construction homes. Now, again, can that vary, especially depending on the weather? And for those of you that might not be aware, we've got some frozen ground. So if you're looking to get a basement in the next 45 days, you might be out of luck at that stage, especially for some of our underground work and a lot of the dirt work that needs to go on some of these lots. That being said, if you're looking in the spring, oftentimes builders can jump into action right away once they have permit and plans approval going through the municipality at that stage. No question that if you're looking at something that is custom designed and built, you could be anywhere from 9 months to 12 months out if you might be looking at just starting the design factor and getting your own blueprints drawn up. A lot of builders today truly recognize the demand that we have for new construction in our market. So what a lot of our builders are doing is they're starting homes and pricing them as a spec or speculative sale. And oftentimes they come with a list of things. And if you buy early enough for some of my builders, not everyone, some of them are just going to build their specs to what they've already decided and you can take it or leave it. But some of my other ones are actually getting to the framing and then they're allowing the buyers to make choices. Choices when it comes to cabinets, choices when it comes to countertops, choices when it comes to flooring, choices when it comes to trim, light fixtures, all those different things. Now, can some of your choices change the base price of that home from the builder? Absolutely they can. But a lot of our builders are totally willing to make and manipulate that price to get you the features that are important. Now again, are you asking for an extra 2 foot onto the side of the house? Sorry, that's going to be probably not cost effective in a spec home for you or the builder themselves. But are you looking for granite instead of quartz? Or are you looking for dark cabinets instead of light cabinets? Those are the choices that can absolutely be made as you're going through this process with a lot of our builders. Some of our biggest builders, there's not going to be a lot of changes in the spec. It's a take it or leave it situation. But for a lot of our builders here, they're totally open to some customization as long as it makes sense based on the base price. If not, you might have to be ready for a little bit of adjustment in that price. Another thing that we have to make sure that we're paying attention as we go through this process is the punch list. At the very end, typically you're going to walk through with the builder and you're going to look for any imperfections that you want taken care of before closing. Now listen, we've all heard the nightmare stories of somebody that comes through with the blue tape and there's 20,000 pieces of blue tape. Could you be a little bit extra if you're going that route? Probably. But most importantly, we're looking to make sure that the quality and that all the pieces come together in exactly the way that you were expecting as a buyer. Now, I will say this selfishly, this is an important reason to have an experienced realtor with you, because so often a second set of eyes can help you look at some of the most common mistakes that happen. And remember, the builder's not there pounding nails all day himself. He's subcontracting it out. So little things can get missed, and this is where it can be very important to have somebody with you to go through and make sure that all the pieces of the home are coming through and meeting your expectations of what you're looking to get in this process. Let's take a look together at some tips that are definitely important when you're going through the new construction process. First one, it truly does help to work with somebody knowledgeable who has been through this process before. For so many buyers, it can be overwhelming, and having somebody that's on their side versus maybe the builder's side. Let's not pretend here. What is the builder's number one concern as they're going through this process? They need to be profitable on the homes that they're selling. And so often, many builders out there are really focused on making sure that this makes sense for them. Who's making sure that this makes sense for you? This is why it's helpful to have somebody along with you representing your best interest and making sure that you're getting exactly what you're paying for as you're starting to go through this process. Again, we talked about the blue tape part and going through and those inspections at the end, the punch list items. This is where it can be really helpful to have somebody with you and a second set of eyes making sure you're getting exactly what you're expecting from that builder going forward. Next one, you want to make sure that you are budgeting for the extras. Here's the thing, with builders, you typically get a base package, and if you want to upgrade light fixtures, or so often people are blown away by the cost of the extra landscaping, all those different things, we really want to know exactly what's included in your package as we're going forward and we bought this house, and then make sure we're budgeting for the must-haves. If it's an upgrade, it's probably not included in base price. And there's nothing wrong with that as long as we're budgeting for the things that are most important and making sure that we're getting all the features that you're looking for as a buyer going through the new construction process. Next, we need to make sure that you have somebody to review the contracts with you, somebody that you can trust. Now, would it be crazy to say that the builder or anybody in business is going to slant contracts towards their best interest? Absolutely. But as a buyer, it's ultra important to know what the expectations are according to your contract. And of course, one of the most important things, what's included in the base price and what's included as an extra as we go forward. We don't want anything to be an extra that you were already expecting in the base price as you go forward. And of course, last but not least, one of the things that's super important in this process, you gotta stay patient. Whether it's weather or it might end up being just some of the trades bouncing job to job or having labor shortages, there can be a ton of things that can delay a project. And most builders are building a little delay time into their construction schedule, so it doesn't always end up as a problem, but we wanna be aware of what that timing is going to be, and we want to be aware of what the delays are and what can/can't be avoided. But in the end, no doubt in the building process, patience can be your absolute best friend. Here's the thing, many people think it's not that important for you to have a realtor buying new construction. The thing is, the builder's rep is definitely looking out for the builder. If it's going to be one of those situations where you might be spending the most money you've ever spent on your life, who's looking out for you? Having a realtor that's experienced in this realm and who has a good understanding of the process and the paperwork that goes along can be invaluable if you want to make sure that you're covered from start to finish. Even overpaying by 1 or 2 or 3% can be a tremendous amount of money in the grand scheme of this entire process. From process to paperwork to, of course, the final closing and the final punch list, it really does make sense to have a realtor on your side, and someone who's been through this process many times is going to have a better idea of where to look, because the amount of detail in a new construction home can absolutely be overwhelming. And listen, some builders might be counting on the overwhelm to get you to maybe not notice small little flaws around the house. This is where representation can make a huge difference for you and put you on the path to getting a better deal and negotiating stronger with that builder as you go forward. Hopefully this was helpful for you guys and just a quick overview of the new construction process. And if you got some value out of this video, help me out. Go ahead and give it a like and subscribe to my channel so you can stay ahead of what's coming out and the different type of content that we have every single week. And if you are thinking about starting the new construction journey yourself and maybe have some questions or want to learn about some of your options, reach out to me. My information is in the description below, and I would absolutely love to help guide you through this process and help make sure that you get the very best choice for your budget with the options that are out there here in West Michigan.